Going on live a little bit early. I figured I'd throw the headset on so that way y'all might be able to hear something more than just the wind or my air conditioning that keeps me cool while in this tiny space. So, if you've not seen it so far, I have a few things that I'm going to talk about. Super Sentai, Medalist, and Dragon Ball Daima. It's a lot of things. Actually, let me. There. Still trying this whole going live thing with the phone and inviting people and things like that. But yeah, it's been a pretty packed day. Let's see. And I might add a few more things. I think I'm gonna start off with medalists. Let's see. Let's put that here. And let's say, is Medalist the best anime of the season? Now, I have my very biased opinion about Medalist, and I can I move that? Oh, that's a highlight. Okay, interesting. Like I said, I'm still kind of learning all this stuff. Um, oh wait, but yeah, is Medalist the best anime of the season? Now, like I've said, I have my biased opinions about it because I really think it is. It's been a very strong contender, and it's not just probably one of those top 10 sports animes, but it's also been a very well written, very strong animated anime. And I say that mainly because the CGI, because a lot of the actual like figure skating in this is done by is done CGI, and I know CGI has been getting better and better year after year, but I can't believe that we have the quick movements that are done within this anime being done by CGI. Like it's really just blowing my mind. And I mean, at least for me, it's not just the animation that that's getting me. It's the story, because a good animation is one thing. Like you can have a completely garbage show but have great animation. I'm trying to think of one that actually comes to mind. Let's see. Um, God, I can't think of something that just has like a really like garbage story, garbage characters, but the animation is just so on top, over the top that you wouldn't expect it to be that good. But yeah, so I'm gonna go through like not the latest episode, because I think the latest episode came out yesterday and I haven't had a chance to watch it. But there is the current, or the last episode. Let's see, where did I? Okay, here's a screenshot from it. So this might not mean a lot to people, because I mean it just looks like a hoodie's strings tied. and that is what it is. But like right before this, the main character Minori, I'm really bad with keeping up with names. Midori, she was talking to her coach, which is who this is, and she was asking him, or she was asking if she should do these like kind of bigger jumps that she hasn't exactly practiced or mastered just yet because she's really looking to win this competition. And he assures her and tells her that, hey, you don't need it's not that I think you can't do them, but I think we should we should keep what you're strong at. And that kind of gives her the confidence. And they got this little thing to where she'll hold on to his hoodie strings, and it kind of calms her down. I mean, she's an 11-year-old kid. She gets super nervous. So like this is just kind of a thing between them two, and it's very it's it, it's kind of like this deep emotional thing that we're getting to see, that it's showing her her being unconfident, which I mean she's an 11-year-old kid going into a sport that she fully understands the depth and the what training needs to take place, and she understands that she's behind, like she was right at the cutoff for all this. And him constantly reassuring her and being patient with her, like I love that relationship that they both have. I was saying this on someone else's stream the other day, that uh, I so far have not seen like a really bad rival character, like a character that just truly hates her or hates someone else. It's like everyone, like a lot of these are kids, but we've seen that in anime before to where they'll have this really intense rivalry. Well, the rivalry in this anime is it's not necessarily with another person. Like, yeah, they have their rivals and stuff, but it's more so to do with the sport and the intensity that it takes to learn the sport. And I think that's a very interesting way to put this. And it took me up into this episode and watching it a few times and just really thinking about it, that's really where we're at with it, is that it's not a person versus person, but a person versus inanimate object or an intangible object. And like they're really hitting heavy on it, like how intense these kids have to train, and how much it can just kind of put you uh put you down, or like dash your dreams. Uh, that being seen with the coach, and the coaches who have already experienced, like you got these kids who are like the future and who are dreaming and trying to get to that point. But you have these coaches who have already kind of been there, seen it, and they're kind of they've already peaked, to say the least. And you got these kids that their future, that they haven't gotten there yet. And like I said, the training that it takes to get to that point. The next one I got, which you can't really see, but like this is right before she starts her routine, and like she goes out there, and right before she starts it, she trips. And like her mom, her coach, and one of the other guys that we've seen at the beginning of the series, they all kind of panic and lose the, like, oh my god, like it's good, like is she gonna be all right? But the minute that her routine starts, she she get like her entire demeanor, her face just absolutely changes. And like for the next, I think it was 2 to 3 minutes that we get to see her routine, you get to see this entirely different person out there on the ice just skating. And it, not a big fan of skating, but it's the emotional buildup that is keeping me attached to this show. And during the routine, you get to hear her inner monologue, which is where we get to see a lot of it. And I love this imagery right here because what it is it's she keeps thinking of her coach, and her coach had showed her this routine, and she got like she starts more or less imitating him, and he sees it like he sees like her potential. Like she I don't know if at some point he doesn't try to tell her like, "Hey, I didn't make it. Don't try to imitate me. Try to be yourself." I fully see that kind of going that way because we haven't like we've seen him be down, and we've seen like how kind of beaten he has been from the sport, but it's not necessarily like he hasn't shown it to her. Like I again, this is just another one of those things I really like about the show is that he is kind of constantly staying strong for her. Like he's told her a little bit about his past, but she really don't know. But she kind of idolizes him, and it showed in this routine where she was doing his moves and getting praise for it. And I think that's something that he was definitely proud of or impressed by, and it really showed by the end of the episode, which I wished I need to make these smaller. Like I said, learning progress. So this image that I have is her or him picking her up right after the routine's over, and she held it together the whole time. But then, like right after she was done, she falls, and she makes it over to the exit, and he grabs her and wraps her up in her coat, his coat. I think he had an extra coat on, and carries her to the nurse at the ring. And it like it shows that he was like he again like there's so much to like about this anime, and just him showing that he wants her to do good, and he wants to help uh achieve her dream, or her dream. um but he is also worried about her, and it really does show, which I'll get to that in a minute, that he starts realizing that he has messed up in a way, and but he's still worried about her because it's like she was supposed to be number two, but he didn't even. He was just like, "Hey, you can't go to or you can't go to the podium. We need to go get you to the doctor." Although he did let her see this girl's routine, which was uh, a little more than like she obviously won. Even though she was in first place, but she went last, and so she got first place. But it was really interesting to see that scene. And but then we get to the point to where at the end of the episode you have them two talking, and he's admitting his flaws as a coach, and she's admitting her flaws or her limitations as a skater, since she started way later than everyone else, but she's not letting that stop her. And he's not allowing he's learning from his mistakes, and she's learning from hers, and they are just like this whole episode was just so good. Like I can't like we have three more episodes, and I really can't wait to see the next one, because I don't know what's going to happen, because in this scene he's actually telling her that she needs to take a break because she ends up getting shin splints, which could put her out for a good long period of time if she doesn't allow herself to heal properly. So again, that's just kind of a breakdown of the episode 9 of Medalist, and I'm serious when I say I think this is the best anime of the season. there's nothing that I've watched or heard of this season that I think can really compete with Medalist. And I know it's getting a little bit of praise, but I really think it deserves way more than what we're seeing. Like there's a lot of people that just aren't like they're not onto it. And I mean, ice skating, I get it. It's not one of those. It's not one of those things you think right off the top of your head that hey, I want to watch this. But I'm telling you, if you're looking for something different, watch this. With that, we will move over to, and I don't have this up right. Title of this section was more fun than MMPR. So there is a new Super Sentai series out for Super Sentai fans or um, Mighty Morphin fans or Power Ranger fans, to be more frank. Um, this is the newest series in the Super Sentai series, and it's a Gozier #1 Gozier Ranger. I think I finally pronounced that right. Um, and this is the 50th anniversary series. So for just quick backstory. So if you're into MMPR or Power Rangers, it probably will not be getting a new series. I mean, they just announced the new toy line a week or two ago, and they're going back to old Mighty Morphin, which I feel every time they do that, they lean on it more heavily because they're looking for more nostalgia bucks than trying to advance the series. And unfortunately, that's just what it is. More people I talk to about, MMP, the difference of MMPR and Super Sentai. There's a lot more going on with MMPR than I think most people are have access to, and it's probably not coming back, or if it does, it's going to be a very different series. Like I think the foothold that it had is gone, and I don't think the people that are in charge of it, from what I'm hearing and from what I'm seeing, they don't have an idea of what they would like to do with the series. And then on top of that, like they don't know how to push it, and I see that even more watching Goja Ranger. And this is absolute insanity. So I mean, like the whole little gimmick this season is like Sentai rings that go into like these sword hand things, and they do a little clap dance in a circle to morph, and it's insane, and I absolutely love it. Yo, Ironcaster, what's up, man? How you doing? But I have been wanting to try. That's messing up my future plans. But I have been wanting to cover more Super Sentai stuff, especially since I'm kind of I've been really into this season. Oh, did I not do the? I don't think I did the pictures right. Uh-oh. Oh my god, this is kind of what I get for only having a phone to do things with. Oh well, we'll figure it out. I don't think I fully. Well, this is lame. And it might have not even gotten some of them. Wow. All right. Well, we'll we'll go with what I can do. So this is spoiler, by the way, which most of my streams are spoilers. So, but this is the Black Ranger. Oh my gosh, a girl, and she's not pink. Surprisingly, Super Sentai doesn't always do those. Put the female in the pink suit. Um, But I think this is where it really got the episode got started. That I was like, oh well, that's interesting. So this is the black. She's the Black Ranger, and she is actually the right hand of the Prime Minister, who is also a Ranger, but he is not part of the main team. This is kind of one of those. This is one of those series. If uh, I think the closest thing that I can think of to compare it to in the U.S. would have been Samurai, where you had a bunch of the teams and the other people kind of like come in and join up, and that's what's happening here. Um, the prime minister gets like his main costume so far that we got to see was the Dawn Brothers costume. So I'm not familiar with the series, but it's very wild, and uh the red Dawn brother is just like he's very flamboyant. Like someone sent me a clip of his final henshin, and the dude literally comes in being carried like on like a Cleopatra style throne, and he just it's freaking nuts. Don Momotaru, yes, dude, it's freaking wild. Um, but in this episode, like, so they're taking their time introducing each new ranger, which I like. Like, I really like it. And this was a very Green Ranger centric episode, which something I did not know. And there's a reason why they don't do blue and green in the modern era of Rangers, because I read a whole article, and because there's a lot of work that goes in, and I never thought about it, but the green suit and the blue suit, so they're like in editing. There's two ways to remove backgrounds and stuff, and that's normally a blue screen or a green screen. So it never occurred to me that, oh, that's why you don't do blue and Green Rangers in the whole team up and stuff. That was the first Sentai series. Nice, dude. Dude, that sounds wild. I need to go back and watch it. Like I'm getting recommended some of these wild series that are similar to this. And I can't, like, there's so much history there with Super Sentai, and I hate that I I'm going to try and go back and watch some more of it, because I love this kind of wild wackiness that goes on, because it just feels so much better. It feels so much more fun, but like you still kind of get these like the old style of Hollywood where they used to have such limitations, and they make use of 'em. Like, I don't know if you've watched and I've not watched a lot of it. Like, I've seen maybe 3 episodes of Common Rider Gav, which was last year's Common Rider, and just the amount of um martial arts that they do in such tiny spaces. I absolutely love that, dude. Like, it was insane to me, because it made me feel like it was like an old Jackie Chan movie. It was so cool. Fine if you want someone to join you. Yeah, dude. If you want to come in, I'm doing a lot of it to see how this works on my phone, because I'm OTR bound, so a lot of my streaming stuff has to be done through phone. But yeah, if you want to come in, feel free, dude. I am up, like, especially during this Henshin stuff, or that Henshin, and Sentai stuff. I'm gonna say that I'm pretty much new to it, even though that I have a decent history with it. I don't know the hit. Like, there's a big gap. Like, there's got to be, and a lot of it's more MMPR. Uh, let's see. Is there a? I'm not even sure how to. But yeah, if you want to click that link in the that I sent in the chat, in the group chat, I'll see how it comes up. I'm still, like I said, I'm still figuring out. Like I would love to have like side by side chats, especially about this stuff. Um, so yeah, but I'll just keep on and we'll see what happens. But uh, where was I? I kind of lost my whole train of thought. But yeah, Black Ranger. Black Ranger can't morph yet, and so Don Momotaru has to come in and save her. So there's a lot going on there. Like this scene was just literally a quick, maybe 5 minute scene where she can't morph. Don Momotaru saving her from another one of the ring rangers looking to take her Sentai ring, and uh, like it's all a fight for these rings to be like the number one Sentai. And it was very simple, and that's all that's all you got from them, but it says so much in that moment. Like now it's got your wheels turning. Like, why can't she morph? Why is Don Momotaro protecting her if they're all looking to be the number one Sentai? uh, why does he allow her to keep her ring, or why doesn't he just take it from her knowing that she can't morph? Like there was so much said without being said, really, in that moment. And we kind of get a little bit more at the end where it might have something to do with like a sister or a family member. And like we got to see that at the end. Let's see. What was this one? I think no, that was not an image I meant to clip. There was another one. I think it's this one. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so can't really see it, but there's a one of the main, well, seemingly main villains. So she fell in love with the Blue Ranger last episode, and it was because it was like the number one popularity person, and this was absolutely hilarious because, like I said, it was just weird to see her kind of fall in love with him. And the thing is like she gets in her mech and she's got a picture of him behind her, and he actually ends up destroying the picture of himself that she had, and it completely pisses her off because now she's like a idol fan, K-pop fan, J-pop fan, and for him. And like she is so pissed at the Blue Ranger, and she doesn't even know his identity is the person that she more or less fell in love with. And it's a neat niche little thing that is funny to see. And I am like, it's not something like super big, and they don't really harp on it too much, which I like because it's like it seems like some of it, like that whoever's directing this season is doing very well with the pacing. Like they're not resting on the jokes too much. They're not like being overly handed with them or heavy handed with them. And it's like, oh, we hit the joke, we move on. And it's like they don't try to sit around and explain it, and they let the viewers kind of, hey, we get it. She likes him. Cool. So they move on. But I'll tell you what, I didn't get an image of that. So the whole main thing about this episode, which not going to be able to see it too well. These images, I hate it. I hate that you can't see it, but at least it's a background, right? So the whole battle was a number one party person battle, and like I it was S. Let's see, man. Let me try. Let me try this. Send invite link to guest. Let me try this. One not. Like I said, I'm not super familiar with everything, and it might not let like so the link or the way that I'm streaming, I'm using my phone. So there might be a possibility that it might be blocking if you're using a PC, which I don't know why it would do that, but this YouTube stuff is it's all experimental. Uh, but it might work if you use your phone. The That's a possibility, or it might be blocking because I started and didn't wait for somebody to show up. Like it's weird because I know they're trying to copy TikTok, and I'm not against that. Like I wasn't like I was mentioning to people before they did it that uh, that the short should be a little bit longer than a minute. Like 3 minutes would be fine, and then they go and do 3 minutes. I still tried your phone. Well, shoot. Um, Next time, man, I do either a Super Sentai segment or any segment and you want in on it. I'll I'll let you know, and I won't start until someone gets in because I'd really like to have someone to like kind of bounce ideas off of. But anyways, so we'll work that out. um, but back to the whole number one party dude battle. I This was hilarious to me because the Green Ranger this season, and I'll go, which I wish I would have got more images of him, especially when he was out of suit and older. So the Green Ranger this season is a younger guy, but is technically in story a older guy who kind of like from the sound of it sacrificed a bunch of his life in his youth to get to where he wanted to be to make a good life for his family and his grandkids. And that is very honorable, admirable, and definitely something that a lot of people um I believe should try to do. But in doing that, he has this really deep regret that he never got to enjoy his youth because by the time that he was set and settled, and like I don't know if it's just me getting old or that I can relate so much to that kind of that story, or because it is very similar to my own personal life to where and like not to get super into it, but I had kids very young, and I have always done things that would for the betterment of my family. And so I get that, and that's a very relatable story to me. And so uh, like I thought I was gonna like the Red Ranger because the Red Ranger is like not your typical Red Ranger, but I think I can relate to the Green Ranger this season so much more than anybody else, which is normally I choose the cool Rangers. I mean, that's one reason why I went from the Red Ranger of Jason and MMPR to Tommy because Tommy was cooler than Jason. Um, uh, oh, I know, man. I know. I have so many times thought about coming in and joining in on the Monday night chats, but I know you can hear my audio right now, and I always feel so bad going into other people's streams with audio like this. Like I would much rather be at my house with my setup, but I got to get over that because the likelihood of me being home and being able to go on other people's stream and having that really nice audio, it's not going to happen. This is more than likely going to be my audio for the foreseeable future. Deharl, welcome. Give me an impromptu thing that you could have learned earlier, but you regret it now. Um, give an impromptu thing that I could have learned earlier. Ah, I mean, is wrap it up a an option? No. Something I wish I would have learned earlier in life that I would have loved to have had is I wish I hadn't been so stubborn about uh certain things in my life, like not exactly kowtowing to my bosses and stuff, but learning how to speak to people, like YouTube and doing it. Well, content, not just YouTube, content creation kind of period has taught me a lot about how to more express my ideas, and definitely learning how to. I don't want to say not offend people, but not say what I'm meaning in such a harsh way that it turns people off or makes me just look like an asshole. Like I'm completely okay with looking like an asshole. I know I'm an asshole. I say things and will do things sometimes, and I gotta own up to them. But there are ways that you can say what you're meaning and get around to it, and it's not so abrasive. And I'm still working at that, but that is something that I feel I've gotten better at over time. And if I wasn't so pigheaded in the past, I probably would have learned that a lot sooner. um, oh man, I hope that answers your question though. So basically, just learning how to talk to people. Teal deer. But yeah, Ironcaster, dude, we'll definitely talk, man. We'll link up at some point. I try to be as free as I can. It gets difficult some days though with my job. But let's go back to Super Sentai Gozier, number one Gozier Ranger. Um, but yeah, the Green Ranger definitely probably going to be my most not morally what's the word uh the not empathetic. It's the one where it's like a character that is similar to you, that you can my most relatable character of the season. And I like again, like I didn't exactly do like him. I did do the party thing some, but it's not as much as I would have liked to, and I didn't get as wild as I would have liked to because of having a wife and kids and stuff. But yeah, bye bye. Keep smiling. You're a good person from the heart. Expressing it doesn't matter much. Remember, there are people who would dislike you and like even if you. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I definitely get that. But thanks for stopping by. Nah, like I said, I definitely there's a lot of like I don't think you can live. There's the saying, I live life with no regrets, but I don't think that there is a real way for someone to live a life without regrets, because there's always going to be that one thing that you wanted to do better, or that one thing that and I say one thing, there's always a multiple of things. Like life is regrets, because there's that one person that you realize you were in the wrong, but you stuck to your guns and didn't want to back down, or didn't want to seem weak. And it's something that happens. But I'll move on, because I am not good at that kind of like talking about that kind of stuff. Which image was? Oh, I already did that image. But so yeah, so they get into a party battle, and I wish I had the all three of them, because the red, the blue, and the yellow ranger all wind up in these like 90s, uh not exactly rave, but it's like if you seen a disco in the 90s. Like it's not rave clothes, but it's very much these kind of weird throwback clothes with sequins and shininess and stuff, which I'm glad the blue's the one that you get to see, because he's the one that probably had the most flamboyant stuff. But I love this. This was freaking hilarious. And the thing is they couldn't transform because, and they don't have to explain it, but it's like their hands got stuck in this kind of like party on, party on Wayne, or I forget where that is, pose, and their rings are on their ring finger, and they have to extend them to put on the blade glove to do the whole clap transformation, and they couldn't do it because their hands were stuck. Let's see, was there another thing that I could show? No. That's disappointing, because I thought I had a thing where you could see like the Red Ranger a little bit more closely. But like, so I've been talking about the silliness of this, and this is the and I got a few here that will and it can't show them because it's not in the screen. Boo. So what this is, and what I'm assuming, is that unlike past seasons or past Ranger series that I'm used to, is that each Ranger will have their own mech, and they pilot that mech, and then they always combine to make the bigger robot. Well, they are taking a page out of the Gundam playbook here, and everybody, like, there, it seems like there's only one mech, but it has this kind of interchangeable head. And so what you're seeing here is the Red Ranger was in the mech to begin with, and then he kind of jumps out or got kicked out for the Blue Ranger, who had put his head on and has a gun, whereas the Red Ranger had a sword. And so that's just like, this image over here is the Red Ranger flying off out of the mech, and it's freaking hilarious. And again, he's off to the side, but the Blue Ranger does the exact same thing, and the Yellow Ranger takes over, which I haven't even gotten into them, but the Red and Blue Ranger are kind of a little less flamboyant than everyone else, but the Yellow Ranger, I feel, is one of the most insane Rangers so far, because he treats the mech as a god, and he worships it. And it is absolutely hilarious when he got his screen time. Was it last episode? I don't know. The blue and the Yellow Ranger kind of got introduced at the same time, but they had a good amount of screen time. Yeah, I don't guess I got where the Red Ranger goes back into it, but which you're not gonna get to see it. But like, I love this image. Is like, I'm probably gonna use this image for maybe a few things. But this is the Green Ranger winning and becoming the number one party guy, and I love that. Like I said, the Green Ranger this season is someone I'm going to be able to easily relate to, and I absolutely love it. Like, I love the insanity of this season, the insanity of Sentai. It's been so well done, and I'm being told that, oh, this is nothing new for Sentai, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I don't know how to take that, because it's like, as much as I love this, and my buddy Darksea, kind of put it into a good way. It's like you can have like the same flavor of ice cream, but like a hundred different companies trying this are making the same flavor, but it tastes different every time. And that is a really good analogy, I feel, because it's like, yes, it's all Sentai. Yes, they can all do like just go with me here. They can all do the exact same story, but it's going to be different every time you see it, and you're going to have the ones you like and the ones you don't like, and that kind of just feels like life too, right? Um, but as someone who kind of breaks down anime stories, breaks down characters, and it's not something that I used to do. I used to just kind of consume these shows and not really think too hard about them. To see the same thing done over and over and over, I don't know, it would kind of wear on me a little bit. Like, I'm still willing to give it a chance because I granted, you can only have so many characterizations of somebody, but it's gonna be the actor to make you care. It's gonna be the way the story's set up. Like, there's all these kind of different elements to make the story work. And so that I get that, and I would love to see that. Like, there's one crazy Sentai series that that he was telling me that I was getting told about, or I seen or got told about, where there is literally a what was that, a Shiba Inu dog that pilots one of the mech bases, and it's like, what the hell is that? So I'm completely wanting to like watch that and see more of that. I'm curious. Just because I want to see what this looks like. Ah, it doesn't look great. Lighting doesn't work. But I'm done with that segment, and then I'm going to come to this. And I really wish I had made this smaller. But what that says is Daima canon? So this is going to be a completely opinionated segment, and I would love to hear from any of y'all that are watching what y'all think, because I am trying to cook on this myself, and I'm kind of I'm struggling with it because I don't know super deep lore of DBZ, and by that meaning that when I watched Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, it wasn't to watch it to break it down or treat it as if I was writing a freaking thesis on what the show and what the characters meant. And I've kind of avoided it because my head canon, the way that I look at the show, and the way I look at Toriyama as a writer, I don't dislike Toriyama. I don't dislike Dragon Ball as a show. I don't. I think people get a nostalgia factor, and they have such a much higher praise of Dragon Ball as a series than what it can be broken down to as a show, and they put a lot more emphasis on it. Oh, forgive me. On certain aspects of it uh, than what there is. It's like you're seeing something that's not exactly there, but because you want this to be a deep segment, you put more into it. I was just watching a video earlier about a guy saying that Goku Goku knocking his head on the or falling into that ravine and knocking his head did not change his personality, did not change anything about him. And I felt the dude was really reaching. Like, I almost felt like I wanted to make a video on it, but it kind of just isn't worth my time to make that video, because he because his next thing was saying that, oh, he gets hit with an axe and it gets no amnesia, gets no change of personality. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, and he's like, he's like yelling at people. It's like, oh, you don't have reading comprehension. It's like Goku got sent to Earth. Like, Raditz made an assumption that he got sent there to take over the planet, and it's no Bardock sent him there. sent him there to keep him safe. And but here's the thing is that this is like one of those retcons, like Toriyama went back and he wanted to make the story a little more deep, a little more epic, or wanted to fill a fan theory. He's like, oh, the fan theory sounds a lot better. At like Dragon Ball initially, like none of them, like there weren't aliens in Dragon Ball to begin with, from what I can remember. Like I don't remember anything of where there was aliens. Goku was supposed to be based off of Sun Wukong. I forget who Demon King Piccolo was supposed to be based off of, and he probably was an actual, like the thought there was probably actually like Piccolo is a demon. And I could go with that, but then you get Z, and Z. So Dragon Ball was a more coherent story, because I think there was a lot of thought put into that, and I think it was done a lot better. But then we get into Z, and Z is where you really start to mess with the lore and the canon of the Dragon Ball universe. And that's where we get the whole Goku's an alien, Piccolo's an alien. Like I've recently been watching Kai, and it's so much more streamlined than original Z. Not like a diehard fan's not going to like Kai, and I will stand by that. A diehard fan would not like Kai, and I get that. But as somebody who's just kind of wanting to go back into it, and like I'm noticing things are missing, but I just want to get back into it, kind of get the basis of a lot of the stuff. It still messes with the lore, probably even more than original Z did. It like I, you they kind of do the same story for Kami that they did for Goku, because it's like, oh well, you hit your head, okay. That was canon up until that point, is that Goku hit his head and he lost his memory and his opinion changed. I mean, at that point, it was understood that, oh, Goku got sent away to to conquer Earth, which honestly I think is a much more interesting story than that. Oh, Bardock just wanted to save his son. Made no sense, if we're being honest, because I mean Bardock was a super elite warrior. He was one of the frontline warriors. He was a Saiyan warrior, and it doesn't make sense why he would all of a sudden think that, oh well, let's save our son, and not that I'm saying he wouldn't save himself, but he at that point he hadn't even, like, think Vegeta pre uh pre-exploding himself, like where he had never held or said a kind word to Trunks. That was pretty much Bardock, and Goku was only a couple days old, I think, at the time. So it just didn't make sense, the whole kind of idea that he had this kind of like I get saving him at some point, but it lore wise it just doesn't. Or if you look at the personalities of Saiyans and the way that they had been told up to that time, it didn't make a lot of it doesn't make a lot of sense why Bardock would want to save him. Other than that, oh well, I want to save him so that way at some point he can come back and fight Frieza. It made a lot more sense that Goku just happened to be off world trying to conquer a planet, and that lore also makes a lot of more sense to me, because that means that there should technically be more Saiyans in the universe that were off worlds conquering weaker planets. It would actually be a lot more interesting, because then you could like meet up with other Saiyans, and they could either or hell, they had interplanetary travel, that like they could have had Saiyans that grew up, found out who they were, just like Goku did, and they could have all got together and made a new planet Vegeta. I mean, just off the top of my head. But so, anyways, get past that. But the whole hitting the head with an axe and him not losing his memory, Goku has a hard freaking head. The original fall was into a freaking ravine, like a mile or two up on to a branch, and almost killing him. the axe almost did not kill him in Dragon Ball. Anyways, that like I said, that video just didn't it didn't make a lot of sense to me. And just like that video didn't make sense to me, Daima does not make a lot of sense to me because this is just another one of those red cons that Toriyama is kind of famous for. Like he forgot, and I'm going to say a lot of things that he forgot, but he's not a perfect person. And all that. But I also feel at some point that if you're going back and writing your stuff, you have access to all of those things, and he just I almost feel he couldn't be like he couldn't be bothered to check up on his lore when he hadn't touched it in a while, and just make things flow a lot easier. And but that's just Toriyama as a writer, is he doesn't exactly write to make things canonical. He writes things that he wants to write, which at some level it can be admirized, but it is hell for everybody else. But so, like I was saying, like I was about to say, he completely forgot about Trunks and Goten's tails. He completely Boo Saga messed up a lot of that because that's where a lot of this comes from. He completely forgot that Gohan had went Super Saiyan 2, and he actually thought that Super Saiyan 3 Goku was was actual Super Saiyan 2, because Super Saiyan 1 to 2 was so similar. He just didn't remember. And that and that's where, like, there's other things that he did, like, I mean, he made Super Saiyan because he got tired of coloring Goku's hair black, so it was like, oh well, I can just leave the panel white. And like, I'm tired of that. And that's working smarter, not harder. And I mean, the Super Saiyan transformation is completely one of like or is absolutely one of the um, most known and looked at transformations in anime. Period. I don't. I mean, I don't care what anybody says about any other transformation in anime. You cannot beat Super Saiyan, the first Super Saiyan transformation. And I'll tell you what, like, I'm going way off on a tangent because this was supposed to be his Daima canon, but I feel I need to get this out. The reason I feel that the original Super Saiyan transformation can't be beat is it's because of the hype that we got to see, or that got put around it once it got introduced. Now, again, I'm going back and watching Kai, and it's either that I know that it's already coming, or that the hype just isn't there, because like I said, Kai is kind of a speed run of the Dragon Ball series, or Dragon Ball Z series, and it just doesn't feel as meaningful this time around because I just got to that part. But it's like, I don't know. It's like you have so many people saying what a Super Saiyan is. Like Vegeta 3 or 4 times says that, oh, I'm a Super Saiyan, or you'll have other people say that Goku's a Super Saiyan, or Vegeta will say Goku's a Super Saiyan. And honestly, at this time, I'm like, maybe it's because I'm watching each episode back to back and they're so close together. But it gets more annoying to hear them call each other a Super Saiyan, and knowing that it's like that's not a Super Saiyan. But I think, like, I remember back to that time, like watching it week on week, hearing them talk about Super Saiyan, or Super Saiyan, and debating with friends at school, thinking of what could a Super Saiyan look like. Like they've depicted it as like the giant ape, but more powerful. And it was very interesting at that time. And I don't think, like, I don't know if you could feel the same watching even original Z or Kai, and feel the same about Super Saiyan 1 transformation. Like, if the internet had been around back then, I I fully believe that Super Saiyan 1 would have, like, it would have shut the internet down. But and maybe it can be said that it's similar to what Ultra Instinct looked like, because they almost did the same thing with Ultra Instinct, except instead of doing the is this Ultra Instinct like through the entire Tournament of Power, it's like, oh well, you got glimpses of it and you got to see it. So we kind of had an idea, and then when we finally got to see Ultra Instinct fully realized, and we got to see more than just glimpses of it, it was a really good moment. Like, I remember watching that, and like, I it might actually be a little bit better than the way Super Saiyan was introduced, just because I've rewatched that arc recently, and it it still felt really cool to see, but I don't know if that's just because of the animation. But it was really cool to see. Like, I think Super Saiyan 1 still really trumps it, just because I guess you would just have to be there for that first time. Um, but the reason Diamond's not canon is, or that I'm not saying that it's not canon. I don't know if it's canon just yet. Is that I feel Daima was a love letter to fans, and something Toriyama, like, he got around to doing and was able to say that I can do what I want. I am fucking Akira Toriyama. You can't tell me what I can and can't do. I don't know if he said that, but I think he just talked to somebody and they were like, "Oh, well, you always do really well by us, so we'll let you do this." Or, "You gave us Super and we need more Dragon Ball content, because Dragon Ball is, it's a household name. You put Dragon Ball on something, people are going to watch it." And I think I've been calling it GT 2.0, and that's really what it feels like. It feels like GT 2.0. Excuse me, because it kind of has all those same elements. But when I looked at GT and when I looked at this, I was thinking about that. But then I was looking back at again, going back to Kai, and then thinking about Dragon Ball, and the only arcs that don't really line up with the Toriyama formula is the Android Cell saga and the Boo saga. Like, those three are kind of the most out of pocket uh, uh, sagas, because they're all about fighting, and the other ones that they're more about, well, maybe the Saiyan saga, but we go right from original Dragon Ball into the Saiyan saga. Then there's the training, and then you get back to Namek, or then when you get to the going to Namek Saga, it kind of just all goes back to that. So I guess Saiyan Saga too, like a lot. I guess really you can say the majority of Z is not really Dragon Ball, even though that's what Z is, what everybody really knows and what they love about the franchise. But really, what the show is it's always about exploration, and it's about a journey, and that's what Toriyama based the original Dragon Ball off of, was Journey to the West. And so that makes more sense, and it makes more sense why Diamond started off as a journey. But what I there's so much I could go into why Daima is not kind of this off branch of what Z is, because that's what I feel is that when Z ended, you get Daima, you get GT, and you get Super. Even though he said that Daima is canon and it takes place in between, well, I'll say canon, is canonical and takes place in between Z and Super. It really doesn't feel like that, and it it's mainly because of the way a lot of it's because of Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and the fact that they never got used in Super, never got mentioned. And I mean, and everybody's been saying this, and I mean, it's the right answer, is that Daima was an afterthought after Super was already in production, and we know that. But in the timeline, it's still just really just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I I, like a lot of people, are saying that, hey, they're going to redcon it, or not redcon it, but Torotaro will end up putting it in Super when, at some point in the manga, He just has to work it in, and more than likely that will be what happens. And it'll like it's not. They're going to put it in to make Daima make sense, I think, but it's going to be one of those answers like an answer's an answer, even if you don't like the answer. And I don't necessarily like that because it's like I get it. He was left with a very like a daunting task, and I feel he wants to make Toriyama proud, especially since, as far as I'm concerned, anything Toritaro writes or draws will now be the canonical universe for the Dragon Ball series, because he was Toriyama's handpicked guy to do the art and to help with the story. And so I will, you know, and I mean, it also goes back to, I mean, Toritaro doing Dragon Ball AF, and that's how Toriyama found him. And it's one of those things, like, this guy was a fan before he got to work on it, and he wrote a story that people liked. And Super didn't wasn't without its flaws, but I don't know where I fall with Daima right now, because I'm still thinking about it. Like, I feel like it deserves a rewatch, because I want to see things that I missed. But I want to say too that Daima is its own kind of little pocket series, and I mean it really is. It's like it's what it was called, a mini series, or it was called a side series or something like that. And but I don't know. Is that falling back to its canonical with the DBZ series, and where Toriyama said that it falls, and I think that's what it is. My hang up is, even though it's just it needs to just be looked at as, it was a fun series, which it was an okay series. Like I said, it's got its problems. Like, I have the problem with that. Oh, the main villain started, like, he kicked it off, but he kicked it off and finished it, but he did nothing in between the entirety of the series except for sit on his throne, yell about where's the third eye, and no one did anything. Like, he didn't do anything. That right hand his right hand Kai didn't do anything. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, that was kind of pointless. The one that did more was the girl, I forget her, the girl Kai, the sister. She made two more Majins, got a Dragon Ball, and did she, yeah, she got a Dragon Ball. And yeah, it's really annoying. And then I also go back to, like, I've been meaning to, one reason why I was rewatching Kai is because I wanted to see when Supreme Kai talks about the other Kais, and how he explains that he's the last Kai left. Like, it always seems to be like some last alien race or something like that. I think the other thing that I didn't like about Daima too was the fact that it was like they made the qualifications for what a demon is so broad that, oh, you just got to have pointy ears and you're a demon. What kind of shit is that? That made no sense. And then, at, like, again, spoilers. At the end of Daima, you have a thing where Mr. Popo is without his hat. Well, maybe it didn't matter that he didn't have his hat, but Mr. Popo has super pointy ears. So Mr. Popo's a demon when everybody's been like, "Oh, he's a genie all these years," which a genie was sounded way cooler to me. But it's like, I don't like that. Just let arbitrary specification that you just have to have long ears to qualify as a demon. Because now, one of the things that I'm looking for is, I'm looking for other characters that had pointy ears. I'm like, oh, they were a demon. They were a demon. And the demon world was, yes, talked about in the Boo saga, but it's just like, eh, I don't know. And then, they did go fight in the demon world when they fought Deborah and Bibbidi, Bibbidi Bobbidi, yeah, okay, Bobbidi transferred them there. And I mean, Bibbidi and Bobbidi, they didn't have pointy ears, so how did they get into the demon worlds? I like I like I said, there's so like I guess Daima was good for making me want to like forcing my hand to rewatch a series that I kind of had shelved and was like that I really don't want to talk about it because I Dragon Ball, like Bleach and Naruto and One Piece, I will talk about them sometimes, but I really don't feel like getting into them. One, because I don't get into those discussions because of the way that I see things, like the data books that people always tend to bring out, and that's where they get a lot of their arguments from. I don't consider that stuff. I don't consider that stuff canon or that it even matters. I don't care if the author wrote it or whoever wrote it. If it's not either in the manga or in the anime, then that all that stuff was an afterthought, and it's like a cleanup way to try to fix something that they they either thought was a throwaway or they didn't realize was going to be popular, or they just kind of forgot and didn't realize that they were making such a giant plot hole and that the fans would want to know. But uh, with that being said, again, this is just kind of a thought experiment right now, and I'm still cooking on it. Again, I think I need to refresh a lot of my lore with Dragon Ball before I really come to a finite conclusion on where it is. Like right now, it is what it is. I guess it's canon, but yeah. I think that's where I'm going to leave it. And if you guys want to chime in on it, help me form that thought, feel free to. The stream should be up, and I will probably cut a lot of this up into the sections that I have it in. Um, but guys, it was fun chatting, but I do have to get in bed and for work in the morning because I got to get up pretty early, along with getting some stuff set up. But also, I think I'm gonna cook, or at least cook again. But I've enjoyed everybody being here. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Tell me how you liked the stream. I know I was trying to get people in here. I would like at some point to throw out that link or for YouTube to make it a lot easier to allow people to come in and talk and stream with me. But I think as it is for right now, it's not bad, but it's also not the greatest thing in the world to work with. I I mean, I should be able to toss a link out there and anyone come and come and join, because I think this would have been a lot funner having a back and forth with somebody, especially on the canonization of Daima. The other stuff is just kind of like, hey, let's talk about the good stuff, and then we'll get to the the gritty, dirty stuff. But guys, y'all have a good rest of your night. I hope y'all start y'all's week out good, and I'm going to get out of here. Enjoy. Also, I stream on TikTok too, which has a kind of a much better system for all this. I'm more than welcome the questions about any anime, and I will try to answer them the best I can. I may keep up the gaming, but I do every other stream on TikTok, or every other stream on TikTok. So I did a stream here, so the next stream will be on TikTok. So if y'all want to keep up with the streaming stuff, I've been doing pretty decent at keeping up with streaming. So yeah, I'll get out of here because I need to get out of here. Later, guys.